What is up, guys? Welcome to today's video. Today we're going to be talking about the add-on DBM, and I had talked about this add-on in the past, but the text on that video is rather unreadable, and I want to make it so you guys can read the text. So we're just going to do the whole add-on over again, and you type /DBM in chat to open up the frame here. You get it off a curse. I'll leave that info in the description below, but just note that DBM or Bigwigs is very, very great add-on for raiding, and I know a lot of guilds that require it because it uses timers, and before patch 7.1 it used radars, so you didn't even have to move very far to know where you were. So that's a plus. So you've got two options when you open this. You've got bosses and then you have options. DBM by itself, when you install it, you can go straight into a raid because it doesn't work unless you're inside a raid setting or PvP if you have the PvP module installed. But I'm going to be talking mostly about the options here. So you can click on general options. You can set what audio channel you want it to go to. So if you don't want it very loud, click dialogue channel and change the dialogue really low. But they added new bars here. So if you click show hide range frame, this is what they've removed in 7.1, that right there. They still have this frame, info frame, and you can do a test mode to check and see if your DBM is working properly. So we come to general options. There's also a show minimap icon, but I just leave that turned off mostly. So I have everything enabled here just because I find it easier. DBM gives you the option to show your guild engaging in kills, so if you're not in the raid,
Four,
like
three,
you're on the bench or something.
2, 1.
Beware.
If you're on the bench or something, you can show that to see when they'd possibly bring you back in. You can show the kill wipes in messages.
4,
So
3, 2, 1.
Destruction.
in here, if someone were to whisper me that they were in a raid or they were somewhere, if I whispered them and they were on a boss, it would show me what percentage they're at, what phase they're on, stuff like that. And then you can hit it here for auto responding. This is what does it. The auto respond to whispers when fighting. So if you're in the middle of fighting, it'll say, hey, I'm in the middle of fighting a boss. Give me a second. Raid warnings. So we're going to change that font back to what it was. This is the font in the middle. So if you click any of these fonts, it's going to bring up this font in the middle. I use Nimrod MT, but that's just because I like the way the font works. And you can change the sound of it. I just use classic. So that sound right there. So this is your raid bars, the bar setup. I have both of mine sitting right here. I could obviously move those. You can click drag me and drag it all over the place. I could drag it down here if I wanted to. You could drag it just anywhere on your screen. And then they have different, dependent on what type of bar it is, they have different colors. So you can change any of those. The default dummy bar. So whether or not you want that right there, you can just, this add-on is really customizable. So, special warnings. This one is that popped up in the middle of the screen earlier. So, for instance, Garrosh's cleave on his intermission phase, or Archimonde's Rot Chaos. That's what this would show up in. Stuff like that. The really big outlier stuff is where this shows up. Heads-up display. I believe this was removed if I'm not mistaken, but if it wasn't, still set it up, and you can run around and say, like, Beast Lord Darmak's breath would show up on one of those. Where he was breathing at is in the center of that circle. Spoken alerts. So, DBM has integration with Overwatch's sound, some of Overwatch's, and here's the Storm sound files. So you can pick those now. And I just have a few. I have those set the way I like them. Health frame. I leave this off because my health bar for bosses is about right here. But if you click show HP frame, you can move this around and move it to where you like it if you want. And it's just when you pull a boss, it'll show this and the giant health frame. It's probably useful on ads. DBM, global, disable, and filters. So the only thing I have enabled here is spam filter options, roll filter options, except that. You don't really need to do much inside here because this is what disables anything inside DBM to not work. Blizzard hide and disable. So hide in-game cinematics. So your cinematics if you've watched them once and you never want to watch them again, you can click after each movie has played once. If you don't want to watch any cinematic ever again, you hit always. And if you just want to watch every cinematic on every tune, you click disabled. And this works across characters. So if my warrior had watched a cinematic and my rogue hadn't, if I clicked after each movie has played once, nothing on my rogue would show up. Extra features, so there's not too much to go around on extra features. It's self-explanatory. If your guild forces you to use big wigs, or if you're using big wigs and they force you to use DBM, they have an option here where you can pretend to be using a bigwig version, or on the bigwig side, it's pretend to use DBM version. So that's pretty cool. And then you can have set up different profiles so you don't mix it up. I just leave mine on default because leaving it on default, you don't have to change it on every tune. Thank you guys for watching, and have fun.